I used to have this particular belief that there were no good men in Nigeria. That was my belief. I used to believe that there were no good men in Nigeria. After having encounter with few of them, from all the men that I grew up around, my father, my uncles, to the men I dated, friends, I came into this particular conclusion that there were no good men in Nigeria. But that particular belief changed. And now I understand and know better. Not believe again. I understand and know better. And now I understand that all Nigerian men are good by the system's definition. All Nigerian men are good. And I'm not even being sarcastic. Forget the laugh. I'm being honest and I'm being serious. I now understand that all Nigerian men, are good. And if you allow me to explain, I'm going to be explaining how I came into that particular conclusion. So first of all, let me develop a fact. This is like a fact, okay? Go make your research. Good and bad is a construct, an idea, a concept that was created to control the human behavior. It is an idea that was created to manage the human behavior. It doesn't exist on a universal level. Good and bad is an idea that was created when they wanted to create a boundary between what is accepted and what isn't accepted. That particular concept came into existence, which is good and bad. What you're allowed to do is good. What you're not allowed to do is bad. For that boundary to be created, okay, for the boundary of what is allowed and what isn't allowed, what is accepted and what isn't accepted, the concept of good and bad came into play through moral code and conduct. And another factor that I want to develop is that what is being practiced as good and bad in one place is definitely going to be different from what is practiced as good and bad in another place. Example, what is being practiced as good and bad in Nigeria is definitely different from what is being practiced as good and bad in, let's say, China. Depending on the things that exist there, depending on the system or depending on the beliefs that exist in these places. Nigerians are religious. A lot of Nigerians are religious. They have been indoctrinated. A lot of Nigerians believe in a certain God that came from religion. And for that fact, what is being practiced as good and bad in Nigeria is definitely going to be different from what is being practiced as good and bad in China, because they are free-minded, they are free spirits, they are open-minded, they are atheists, they are not religious. So what they consider as good and bad, what they consider to be good and bad, what they consider to be acceptable and not acceptable is definitely different from what is considered to be good and bad here in Nigeria, what is considered to be accepted and not accepted in Nigeria, okay? So that particular fact, that one has been developed. Now let me explain why I say Nigerian men, all they are good. If you have not been paying attention, let me bring your awareness to this, okay? Nigerian men have been programmed. They have been programmed. They have been programmed even before you were born to act a certain way, to behave in a certain way, because there's a certain system that is being operated here in Nigeria, and that particular system is a patriarchal system. And this particular system has installed a certain behavior on these men, even before you were born. There is no exception. Not your father, not your uncle, nobody. There is no fucking exception. These men went through a certain program, just the same way you as a girl went through a certain program. Just the same way you were programmed and conditioned to think in a certain way. That is the same way these men have gone through the same program. That is why it looks like they have the same behavior. Or it looks like they are doing the same thing. It is because they too went through a certain program. So this is a system that is being operated. And that particular system teach men to be suppressive, to suppress, to oppress, because it's a system that is biased. It is a system that was created to be biased, okay, to be biased, to be one-sided. It is a system that was created to make men feel like they are superior to women, to make men feel like they are the ones that are in charge. And that is the system that is being installed here in Nigeria. And one of the elements or two that was used to enforce this particular belief system is religion. That's why I say what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable is different from what is acceptable in China. Okay, what we do here is very, very different. So this particular patriarchal system has taught these men to behave this certain way. And that is why every man in Nigeria is good. Because if this system comes to analyze and score these men, to grade them, they will grade them as good because they're actually delivering on exactly what they taught them to do. They're actually delivering on, exactly how they program them to behave. They are doing exactly that. They are being oppressive, yes. They are suppressing women. They are being superior. They are being biased, yes. And this system is going to come and say, yes, these men are what? Good. That's why I say every man in Nigeria is good. Because the definition of good and bad is not subjective. It's not objective, sorry. It's not personal opinion. You cannot come and give a standard of what is good and bad. The system has created a standard of what is good and bad. They installed a certain program, on these men. And these men are delivering. They are actually the product of what they have been programmed to do. They're actually giving the result that the system expects. Is the system harmful? Of course it is harmful. It is biased because it suppresses women, because it does a lot to women. It is. But it does not stop the is that what I want to say? No. But it does not mean that these men are not good. They are delivering, even though what they are doing is harmful, but they cannot see it. And this is why I always say women personally need to wake up. You need to wake up. You need to intentionally start navigating your life the way you want, because these men cannot do it for you. They are working exactly how they are meant to work. They are operating exactly how they were programmed to operate, or how they were conditioned to operate. So if you want to interact with these men, you have to wake up personally. Wake up and look at the world that you are in. Understand the system that is being operated in the world that you are in, so that you can know how to interact with these people. You can know what to expect from these men, because you cannot be thinking that, okay, I will find a good man objectively because there's no good men objectively. Okay, these men are good by the system standard. They are delivering exactly how the system expects them to deliver. They are acting exactly how the system has taught them to act. So if you are coming from your own objective standard of what is good and bad, you're not going to find a good man. You're only going to find a good system man, a good patriarchal man, okay, a good patriarchal man that is giving exactly what he has been taught to give. So you have to wake up personally and then start navigating your life, knowing fully well that you live in a world that operates this certain way. This is just going to help you navigate your life. This is just going to help you know how to interact with these people, with these men. It's just going to help you know how to interact with the world that you have found yourself. It's just going to help you understand what to expect from these people. And that's all I have to say.